Overflowing with luxury, they waste their own and covet the substance of others. Extolling indeed the name of human fraternity, they nevertheless speak more fraternally than they act, for they are carried away by self-love, and the genuine charity towards the poorer and the helpless is daily diminished. In the time we are speaking of, the manifold errors of the Albigenses, by stirring up the masses against the power of the Church, had disturbed society and paved the way to a certain kind of socialism. And in our day, likewise, the favorers and propagators of materialism have increased, who obstinately deny that submission to the Church is due, and hence, proceeding gradually beyond all bounds, do not even spare the civil power. They approve of violence and sedition among the people. They attempt agrarian outbreaks. They flatter the desires of the proletariat, and they weaken the foundations of domestic and public order. In these many and so great miseries, you well know, venerable brethren, that no small alleviation is to be found in the institutes of Saint Francis, if only they are brought back to their pristine state. For if they only were in a flourishing condition, faith and piety and every Christian virtue would easily flourish. The lawless desire for perishing things would be broken, nor would men refuse to have their desires ruled by virtue, though that seems to many to be a most hateful burden. Men bound together by the bonds of true fraternal concord would mutually love each other and would give that reverence which is becoming to the poor and distressed, as bearing the image of Christ. Besides, those who are thoroughly imbued with the Christian religion feel a conviction that those who are in legitimate authority are to be obeyed for conscience sake, and that in nothing is anyone to be injured. Than this disposition of mind, nothing is more efficacious to extinguish utterly every vice of this kind, whether violence, injuries, desire for revolution, hatred among the different ranks of society, in all which vices the beginnings and the weapons of socialism are found. Lastly, the question that politicians so laboriously aim at solving, viz., the relations which exist between the rich and poor, would be thoroughly solved if they held this as a fixed principle, viz., that poverty is not wanting in dignity, that the rich should be merciful and munificent, and the poor content with their lot and labor, and since neither was born for these changeable goods, the one is to attain heaven by patience, the other by liberality. For these reasons, it has been long and specially our desire that everyone should, to the utmost of his power, aim at imitating Saint Francis of Assisi. Therefore, as hitherto, we have always bestowed special care upon the third order of Saint Francis, so now, being called by the supreme mercy of God to the office of Sovereign Pontiff, since thereby we can most opportunely do the same, we exhort Christian men not to refuse to enroll themselves in this sacred army of Jesus Christ. Many are those who everywhere of both sexes have already begun to walk in the footsteps of the Seraphic Father, with courage and alacrity, whose zeal we praise and especially commend, so that, venerable brethren, we desire that by your endeavors, especially, it may be increased and extended to many. And the special point which we commend is that those who have adopted the insignia of penance shall look to the image of its most holy founder and strive to imitate him, without which the good that they would expect would be futile. Therefore, take pains that the people may become acquainted with the third order and truly esteemed it. Provide that those who have the cure of souls sedulously teach what it is, how easily anyone may enter it, with how great privileges tending to salvation it abounds, what advantages, public and private, it promises. And in so doing, all the more pains are to be taken, because the Franciscans of the first and second order, having been struck recently with a heavy blow, are in a most piteous condition. God grant that they, defended by the patronage of their Father, may emerge youthful and flourishing from so many disasters. May He also grant that Christian people may rend towards the discipline of the third order with the same alacrity and the same numbers as formerly. From all parts they threw themselves into the arms of Saint Francis himself with a holy emulation. We ask it above all, and with yet more reasons, of the Italians, from whom community of country and the particular abundance of benefits demand a greater devotion to Saint Francis, and also a greater gratitude. Thus, at the end of 7 centuries, Italy and the entire Christian world would be brought to see itself led back from disorder to peace, from destruction to safety, by the favor of Saint Francis of Assisi. Let us, especially in these days, beg this grace in united prayer to Francis himself. Let us implore it of Mary, the Virgin Mother of God, who always rewarded the piety and the faith of her client by heavenly protection and by particular gifts. And now, as a pledge of celestial favors and in proof of our special goodwill, we impart most lovingly in the Lord to you, venerable brethren, and to all the clergy and the flock committed to each of you, the apostolic benediction. Given at Rome at St. Peter's, the 17th day of September 1882, and in the 5th year of our pontificate. Leo the 13th.